Hello and Merry Christmas. Welcome to TVB News. Today is Christmas. More than 1 million people traveled across the border over the past 2 days of the 4-day holiday period. This as fewer than 400,000 tourists entered the SAR over the weekend, with the tourism sector urging the city to be more competitive. Meanwhile, a large number of Hong Kongers were out and about for the first Christmas since the city's return to post-pandemic normalcy. Timothy Lee has our top story.
Stepping into the third day of a 4-day-long holiday celebrating the birth of Christ, visitors packed into some of the city's main attractions, including the Palace Museum. Despite Christmas not being a public holiday in the mainland, many people took the opportunity to travel down to the SAR to get a feel for the festive spirit. This tourist from Guangzhou said she wanted to see the Sanxingdui artifacts at the Palace Museum, and that she always found Hong Kong was rich in cultures from many nations. Besides tourists from the mainland, the festive season also attracted overseas visitors.
Hong Kong, because it's a big city in Asia, so we live in Africa. So it's very nice to feel and experience different cultures and different ways of living. And that's why we chose Hong Kong, and because we have a direct flight from our town.
I haven't been here for maybe 10 years. Still a lot of people, more new and tall buildings.
Over the past 2 days, Hong Kong recorded around 378,000 people entering the city, with just 77,000 of them coming from abroad. Some in the tourism sector said the city needed to improve the quality of its services to boost its attractiveness. Meanwhile, despite around 1 million residents having traveled out of Hong Kong over the past 2 days, many areas in the SAR continue to be filled with crowds. Restaurants around the city were among the benefactors. But some in the bar industry noted the lack of patrons over the holiday season led to a 30% drop in business compared with last year. Lawmaker Yu Pak Leung from the tourism constituency stressed more than 300,000 tourists entered the city in this month alone, and that there should be less emphasis on visitor numbers during the Christmas holiday. He added the government has recently increased efforts to boost tourism, hoping to attract more visitors during the Chinese New Year holiday. Across Hong Kong, large numbers of Christians gathered at places of worship to celebrate the Nativity. At the Cathedral of the Immaculate Conception on Hong Kong Island, Cardinal Stephen Chow delivered a sermon to the faithful to strive for peace in uncertain times. Timothy Lee, TVB News.
Chief Executive John Lee invited students from vocational training institutions and schools for the visually impaired to celebrate Christmas at Government House. They include students from Ebenezer School and the Home for the Visually Impaired. They gave Christmas performances with violins and eru. The CE and his wife, Janet Lam, gave Christmas cards to the guests. Participants in the government's Strive and Rise program and young people from the Vocational Training Council also took part. They made Christmas cookies and drinks. The CE said he hopes to spread joy and warmth on this special day to people with different backgrounds and needs. Public consultation on the government's 2024-25 budget is now underway. It's expected the budget deficit could surpass $100 billion. While there are mixed views on whether the government should introduce more taxes, an economic scholar suggested issuing bonds to boost income. Jackie Lin reports.
Global financial uncertainties continue to cast a shadow over the city's economic recovery and the SAR government's finances. Since financial year 2018 to 19, the fiscal reserves have recorded consecutive declines from $1 trillion to around $830 billion. But government expenditures continue to rise with a 70% surge over the past 6 years, far surpassing government income during the same period. The government expects upwards of $100 billion of budget deficit this financial year, with mixed views among the public. Mr. Tong said Hong Kong's tax system is too simple and a bit more taxes might help to boost government income. Mr. Chan here suggested introducing cross-border taxes, as many Hong Kong people flock up north to shop and dine, adding that taxes below $100 for each cross-border trip won't impose too much of a burden. Mr. Tang meanwhile hopes the government can help ease people's financial strain, especially under the sluggish economy, such as giving the public a tax cut. Apart from taxation, the government has issued bonds to expand a short-term cash flow. The amount raised from government bonds issued over the last 4 fiscal years ratcheted up from $6.3 billion to more than $60 billion. Terence Chong, Associate Professor in Global Economics and Finance at the Chinese University of Hong Kong, said bond issuance could alleviate the city's cash crunch. He also said it's better to have them issued now when the city's credit rating is relatively good and the cost of bond issuance is lower, in case ratings agencies further downgrade Hong Kong's credit outlook. Chong added the government should also consider postponing the rollout of some mega infrastructure projects in view of the current financial situation. Jackie Lin, TVB News.
Christmas looks a lot different in Bethlehem this year. The typically busy birthplace of Jesus now resembles a ghost town after Christmas Eve celebrations were called off due to the Israel-Hamas war. More from NBC News.
The Christian faithful believe a star guided the 3 wise men to Bethlehem, carrying gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh for the newborn Christ. This year, the wise men would find the little town closed. Christmas celebrations are officially canceled by the mayor and churches in solidarity with the 2.3 million people of Gaza. In Manger Square, there's no tree nor lights. Instead, a creche shows baby Jesus in a destroyed building to represent the victims in Gaza. Bethlehem is in the West Bank. The people here are Palestinians. Gaza is only 50 miles away. Richard Tabash, a Palestinian Christian, owns one of the biggest stores in Bethlehem.
And a lot of your carvings are, for obvious reasons, of the nativity scene.
Nativity scene, because this is what represents Bethlehem. This is where all the story started.
He says he'd normally see up to 10 busloads of visitors during the holiday season.
And when was the last time you had a single customer?
Well, it was on the 6th of October, just the day before the war. Then from the 7th up to today, it's zero business.
At the Tabash's home, we met his wife and daughters. No wreath or presents this year. 9-year-old Sophia says the holiday isn't about toys anyway.
We didn't even decorate anything because of the war, and innocent people are dying, and I feel so bad for them.
So no present for you?
No.
Does that bother you?
No. Children in Gaza, they don't get gifts or anything because of the war.
At the heart of Bethlehem is the Church of the Nativity. But pass through the door of humility now, and you'll find almost no one. We met Reverend Mitri Rahab.
In this sacred place at this special time, do you have a Christmas message for our viewers?
My Christmas message is Jesus was born to bring peace to this world, and the ball is in our court. We are all invited to be peacemakers and not peace talkers. We are fed up with peace talkers and peace talks. It's time for peacemaking.
Below the altar is the grotto, the spot where tradition says Jesus was born. Pilgrims can wait up to 4 hours for a glimpse of this. We were alone to witness the rituals that have continued uninterrupted for roughly 2,000 years. Spiritually, Christmas isn't canceled, but no one is in the mood here for a celebration, not even for Jesus' birthday. Richard Engel, NBC News, Bethlehem.
Pope Francis delivered his homily during a solemn Christmas Eve Mass in St. Peter's Basilica. Amid the conflict between Israel and Hamas, he lamented that Jesus' message of peace was being silenced by the futile logic of war. The pontiff was celebrating his 11th Christmas as Pope, reminding Roman Catholics around the world that this was a time for peace and love. He urged them not to be obsessed by the idolatry of consumerism. His message comes as Bethlehem, the reputed birthplace of Jesus, observed a somber Christmas in memory of the thousands of Palestinians killed by Israeli strikes since October 7th. Quote, "Tonight our hearts are in Bethlehem," he said, where the Prince of Peace is once more rejected by the futile logic of war, by the clash of arms that even today prevents him from finding room in the world. The Iranian Navy displayed its new cruise missiles to the media on Sunday. The display comes as the U.S. accused Iran of a drone attack on a chemical tanker in the Indian Ocean. Reconnaissance helicopters, drones, and marine cruise missiles with a range of 1,000 kilometers were among the new military assets added to the Navy's arsenal. Iran's Navy had said the new weapons were designed and produced locally. The U.S. said on Saturday that a drone sent from Iran struck a Liberian-flagged chemical tanker in the Indian Ocean. The incident highlighted rising regional tensions and a new risk to shipping lanes in the wake of the October 7th Hamas attack on Israel. Iran has denied the U.S. accusation that it was involved in planning attacks on commercial vessels in the Red Sea by the Tehran-aligned Houthi movement in Yemen. In Serbia, protesters hurled stones at Belgrade City Hall on Sunday, demanding the annulment of parliamentary and local elections a week ago that international observers said were unfair. Thousands gathered in the Serbian capital in an anti-government protest, which turned into clashes with riot police. Police fired pepper spray and tear gas to prevent people from entering the city hall where the local election commission is based. The ruling Serbian Progressive Party won nearly 47% of the votes in snap parliamentary elections last weekend. But observers said the party gained an unfair advantage through media bias, vote buying, and the improper influence of President Alexander Vučić. Vučić said Sunday's protest is an attempt to overthrow the government orchestrated from abroad. He said more than 35 people have been arrested and more detentions would follow. Welcome back. The Buildings Department and Lands Department have issued orders to owners of 20 seaside or slopeside luxury homes at Bulu Peninsula and Tuen Mun to remove unauthorized structures. The joint operation came after the government found aerial photos showing these properties with illegal structures or unlawfully occupying government land. Owners of 4 of these luxury homes were also prosecuted by authorities for having failed to comply with the removal orders. The latest swoop followed inspections at luxury housing estate Red Hill Peninsula, where authorities found around 70 homes with illegal structures. In central Taiwan and Sunwon, some street signs underwent a revamp with a new font in both English and Chinese. They include this road sign in Central, which no longer uses the vector true type font. It now employs the calligraphy like Wenyu classical Ming Dynasty style. The government earlier said the change was made to help improve the cultural atmosphere of the street. But Gary Yao, president of Road Research Society, said the font change might not achieve that goal, and the primary purpose of street signs is to give clear indications of the location. He said the new fonts might not be as clear as the previous ones, especially in the letters C and E that could confuse motorists and cause road accidents. Hundreds of surfing Santas and a few elves took to the waves on Christmas Eve for the annual Surfing Santa Day on Florida's Cocoa Beach. The event, now in its 15th year, draws hundreds of surfers and onlookers, with many dressing in elaborate Christmas beach gear. What organizers say began as a simple family beach day has grown into a beloved tradition for locals and visitors, with its distinctive blend of Florida sunshine and Christmas spirit. The event's founder, George Trossett, told Reuters it was a chance for people to leave politics and their daily hassles behind. Participants and spectators enjoyed live music, a costume contest, and watched the surfing Santas ride the waves. That's the news. Thanks for watching. Merry Christmas, Hong Kong.